Under the Wider Opportunities programme, music is taught to whole classes rather than to small groups, and each teacher develops their own style and strategies to deliver those lessons successfully.
Each individual teacher is a very different person and brings in their own skills and their own ideas. When I'm training tutors, I do keep reminding them to actually have very specific objectives for the lesson and to approach each of those aims from every angle almost. For every child, you can find the way in for that child to meet that objective.
Samba music is street music, it's carnival music. If you play it correctly, people all start dancing to you, and it's got that happy feel about it all. Most important beat in music is the pulse. Okay, if you I do a lot of warm-up exercises to reinforce the pulse beat, so they get the idea that throughout all styles of music, the pulse is there. Instruments are very important. They all generally come in from Brazil, and the Brazilians are not that quick in sending stuff across. It can take months. Tepaniki is used by the leader to call. Surdu, which is the main pulse. A caixa. We have a tamborim. A go-go, we could see it's got long and short, which gives the young people the idea of pitch. If you can say it, you can play it. Yes. One of the basic pieces is a thing called monkey, monkey, moo. So it's monkey, monkey, moo, monkey, monkey, moo, yellow monkey, purple monkey, monkey, white and blue. Da, ga, ga, ga. Yeah, okay, Humpty Dumpty. And then when you get them to do a composition, they work something out for themselves. Make their own sayings up. Sure, it's nice and light. Not tense, don't tense your wrist up, okay? They remember it that way because they've built their own saying in. The only thing that I can signal to them is by hand signals or whistle. And they know that 4 whistles will change from one section to another. And so they begin to learn what structure is in music. And they go, they know there's going to be a break. And that means we're going to stop. When I signal to that, they know that there's going to be a go-go bell solo. It's signals that you just make up yourself. Right, they could lead a band by learning what the signals are. The call and response, I try to encourage the young people to come to do it. Have a little bit of responsibility of leadership. The younger ones, they're more in unison playing, as opposed to the older ones. Various sections can play different rhythms, getting them the idea how things can be layered. And they produce some fantastic pieces. I started doing a jamming session. We just brought different instruments in, layered it, and I didn't say a word. It was all done by hand and whistle. And an hour later we stopped and we had this piece of music. That's how fascinating samba music can be.
Everyone's participating and you get to see all your friends.
When you're in a whole class, it sounds better because there's different people playing on different instruments. You get to show your feelings, and it's fun because you get to make loads of noise.
When you do it with everyone else, people don't just look at you, they look at other people.
Sometimes if you're angry, you can just go and play an instrument and you just calm down.
I travel to 13 different schools in the county, so it is quite a juggling job at the beginning of the year to slot them all in. Now, I myself have only been playing the ukulele for 18 months, and it's very easy to pick up the chords, and quite honestly, anyone can play it. Grandma, Grandma, sick in bed. She called for the doctor. We started off with a couple of warm-up activities, getting the fingers and the muscles warmed up, and getting everybody focused really and ready to roll. All you need is a walking stick. Then I usually try to go into something that they've done before, but maybe with a slightly different slant on it. F, C. When they're in a group, I can still go around and check up and make sure that they've got their fingers in the right place and that they're doing it correctly, but it's within the context of the whole class, and then it doesn't seem to be so threatening to them. So we'll do the same as we did just now, but we're going to use the pattern down, down, up, down, down, up. C. In one of the other schools where I teach, I do have a student who finds it very difficult, and I actually retune her ukulele to one particular chord so that she knows when that one comes along, it's her turn to play. So she can definitely take part. Let's have a look at Ihuli Maku. We've got quite a quick turnaround from G7 to C7 to F. 2, 3, 4. G7, C7, F. And actually it's quite difficult to do a more complicated strum pattern while you're singing. So sometimes I do it with just half the class singing and the other half learning the new strum, then eventually we put it together. G7, C7. Then maybe introduce some kind of new material in the middle of the lesson. Today it was the ukulele day and the C major 7 chord, which none of them had seen at all before today. To begin with, we do it all orally. I would show them how to play it and they would just do it by ear, and they wouldn't have anything written down in the way of notation or tab. She's very nearly right. Then when they've got used to doing that, I introduce a little bit of tab so that they've got some way of actually recognising which note I want them to play. Okay, so you were nearly right, but we just need to use the right finger, because you know how fussy I am about fingers, don't you? And then usually with the tab, I then put the notation over the top. I don't do a huge amount of notation with them, not on this particular instrument, because I don't think it's as relevant to the ukulele as some other instruments. Good, all right, and stop. So let's see if we can give it a bit more shape and be a bit more. Quite often when they start off, they tend to put too much emphasis on everyone so that they all sound the same, and then it sounds very, very wooden. So what we try to do is to put the emphasis on the first beat of the bar and give the whole thing a bit more musical shape. We use rounds quite a lot because a round is always based on the same progression of chords throughout. So once they've learnt the chord progression, they can usually keep the chords going quite well whilst they're singing in several parts. Next group. Everyone. Well, I sometimes think that we home in on technique too much and then we stifle creativity. But if you look at some of the great players on a number of instruments, you could actually see them doing things that you as a teacher might think was not good technique, but they are producing a fantastic sound. So I tend to take a sort of liberalish view on technique.
It's a clever little instrument because you can play so many notes just on 4 strings.
If you play it as a whole class, they can't make fun out of it because they're playing it as well.
Maybe you don't technically know what that chord is, and then maybe someone next to you does.
Well, you help each other, but when you're on your own, you can't really help anyone else, so.
Brass, I mean, it appeals to kids anyway, doesn't it? I mean, because kids just like making loud, farty noises. That's our homework, isn't it? First couple of weeks. Certainly in this first year, what we're providing, it's musical experience, and that's why I make a point of maybe 6 activities in one lesson. It's music via brass.
Feel the rhythm in your hands. Feel the...
Coordination exercises seem to be the province of preschool, and I think it's such a shame, because the whole idea of getting left and right side of the brain to work together is exactly what you would need to play a musical instrument, because you need both hands sometimes to do contradictory things simultaneously.
Clap, click. Very good. Right, it's instrument time now, so I want you to unpack your instruments.
When you've got 30 brass instruments, you really need to think of them as pack animals. And really you want them to do the same thing at the same time. It's about that teamwork aspect of all pulling together in the same direction. 3, 4. By the time they've done that warm-up, I think they're then ready just to calm down, and I will put on some real music. And I want to know what you see when you hear this music. By real music, I mean stuff that they probably won't be listening to at home. So by asking them to listen to something and say, what do you see? They have to dig into imagination.
Like a sunset coming up. People dancing in a ballroom.
When Gromit thought Wallace didn't love him.
So we've got their heads in tune, we've got their bodies sort of limbered up. How about another short block? Who's got a short block? The Lego now. There's something very obvious about it, which makes me think that the Lego is the way to go with the junior music education.
You got a long block? Go on, don't be shy. There we go.
I started looking at this idea of long and short blocks, and it just made a lot of sense to me that the symbols could be easier.
We've got row 1, 2, 3 and 4. So, Billy, would you like to play one of the lines and let us guess which one you picked? Marcus.
Is it the fourth line?
It was the fourth one. It went short, long, short.
Map reading, if you needed an everyday example of how you would commute those skills elsewhere, you know, recognising symbols and visualising something else. They then become blocks with stems. Then as we come out of that and develop the range a little further in the second year, converting that to what it looks like on manuscript, it's a logical progression. We can get them reading music in 2 years.
Very nice. Now, I think it's time we had a look at the music for that.
Now, it doesn't matter if they take up brass after that point. We've taught them the essential skill, and that doesn't matter whether they're in a choir, whether they play piano. They then have that other language under their belt. And then linking it up with a piece, Beethoven's Ode to Joy, which is a scalic piece, in so much that it flows note to note.
You don't even know you're doing work, you just makes it sound fun.
Everyone's playing different instruments, so it makes the noise sound really nice.
And Mr. Bertie lets experiment. Brilliant.
Interesting, really, to see what other people's ideas are.
We can play Jaws, the song where the shark comes up and goes da 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 da.
If I didn't play it at school, I probably wouldn't play it at all.